begins. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I know it's March Madness, but it was baseball craziness last night. I don't know if you watched it. Of course, I must confess, the NIT, the CBI, they were great games last night. I mean, I'm going back and forth and back and forth and forth because there's three things I'm watching. But in the end, the thing that most captivated me was USA against Japan. Schwarbs, former Cub, hits a home run to make it a one-pitch game, right? Because it's 3-2. They go to the top of the ninth because Japan's the home team, even though this game is in Miami. By the way, crowds were crazy. This is such a good thing for baseball. And it's really not bad that Japan wins. It really isn't. And Japan's won a couple of these now, I think. They haven't had that many World Baseball Classics, but
I believe 2006 was the first one.
Is that right?
But only every 4 years.
Well, let me
so like
tell you
you
something.
said, not many.
Mexico is darn good. The Dominican is darn good. Cuba's usually pretty good. They're not like they used to be. You had this dream team lineup. The pitching wasn't. Japan's pitching is better. And Japan won this thing, and it comes down to this. Actually, you get a man on, and you got 3 MVPs coming up. And that should have been 2 for 4 in the game. It's into a double play. So now, what do you got? Mike Trout, teammate of Shohei Ohtani. And Mike Trout, some think the best baseball player in the game in the last 5 years. Certainly one of the richest baseball players on planet Earth. And here's Mike Trout at the plate. And Mike Trout takes really good swings, really good cuts. Like if he hits it, it's gone. But he could not catch up to a couple 100-mile-an-hour pitches that were in the plate area, but just too fast for him to catch up with. So he's got 2 strikes, and he's taken great cuts, and he's missed on a couple. And then here comes an 87-mile-an-hour slider that drops off the face of the earth. Big swing, big miss. Japan and Ohtani win. Wow. I mean, it was incredible. And, of course, they go crazy. I've actually heard the call in Japanese, too. It was kind of neat. Joe Davis's call was okay, but the guy from Japan was pretty interesting. I couldn't understand a word. But just inflection and excitement makes you kind of get a little jazzed up. And then Mark DeRosa, the manager of Team USA, I think said it best. When you think about what Shohei has done, hitting, pitching, you name it, and like when he's a free agent next year, don't you have to pay for 2 guys? Because you're getting a pitcher and a hitter? I mean, he could break the bank. But what he said is, and I loved it, he goes, Shohei is doing against these guys what these guys used to do in Little League. Think about that. That's the best quote ever. They're dominating, or he is dominating at the most high level, the major league level, the best in the world level. He's dominating like those major leaguers used to when they were in Little League. That's how good Ohtani is. I mean, can you imagine? He just won for his home country. Do you think, J-Mo, he will ever have to buy sake in his homeland again?
There was billboards of him in Japan before he even made it to Major League Baseball, so certainly there's something like this. You're absolutely right. I heard the Japanese media in Miami during this whole thing has been crazy. I mean, they're covering it's more
Well,
than like
they've been
Ichiro.
crazy since he got into the major leagues. The same thing with Ichiro, for sure.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. They really soak up this World Baseball Classic. It is a major event in Japanese sports culture.
Well, baseball is. I think it is their national pastime, right? It's their number one sport.
It has to be.
So he's their greatest athlete. Nobody's done it like him. He's literally Babe Ruth. And the point was made by Joe Davis on the broadcast, which I thought was very interesting. Babe Ruth was a two-way guy for 2 years. Ohtani's now done it for 3 years. You can absolutely make the case that Ohtani, at this point, at the highest level, because we're talking Major League Baseball, he's doing it better than Babe did as a two-way guy. And he's taken on all comers, right? All races, all everything, worldwide, as opposed to what Babe was facing when he was pitching for Boston.
What you brought up, how do you pay him, is probably the most interesting baseball narrative for me going right now is when his contract comes up. How in the world? There's no market for this guy. How do you pay him? You can't just give him both salaries, but that's what the market would demand.
Why can't you? If I were, his agent, I'm not. I mean, I guess I'd hire Scott Boras because he gets the most money for any baseball player.
For everybody.
But I would approach it this way. I think I don't know how the structures have what they are in place. This would be a good question for our agent, Andy Schiffman. Maybe we'll ask him on Friday. He's basketball, but he's an agent. But I don't know what the mechanisms legally are, contractually, what they would be. But why wouldn't you approach this like, wait a second, give me a contract for him as a pitcher with incentives in that regard. Give me a contract with him as a hitter with incentives in that regard. Why wouldn't you go, since nobody else is doing it? He's a two-way guy. He's two different contracts. One as a pitcher, one as a hitter.
That's interesting, too. And it made me think of also there's something with the way the MLBPA works that they also have to sign 5 pitchers to a starting contract deal. And Shohei Ohtani's isn't included in there, which is why the Angels and whoever else that would perceivably sign him has to have 6 pitchers.
Throw him in as a starter, as a reliever.
I think that's the way it kind of constructs there. It's so crazy. Like everything we're talking about, it sounds like so conceptual because nothing like this has ever existed before. It's wild stuff.
It was crazy, and I really believe it's good for baseball. I mean, and maybe eye-opening for all of us that just think the major leaguers are the greatest things of all time. Nobody could ever play against the major leaguers. Here we got lineups that are considered this like the 27 Yankees. You got all these MVPs in the lineup. We know they can hit like crazy. And Japan shuts them down. Japan wins. And they had struggles against Mexico. I mean, there were other countries that were in this. So baseball is not just America anymore. Baseball is, as we just saw, the world. And there's plenty of really good countries. It's great for the game. I don't think it's bad that Japan won. I think if you love the U.S., you're sad. But I don't think it's bad for the game. Not at all. I can't wait to talk with our good friend who's going to be in the house. Brett Norsworthy is going to chat with us in the next segment. So I'm going back and forth between that, watching the World Baseball Classic, and I'm watching the NIT, and I'm watching the CBI. Southern Utah, Eastern Kentucky. Did you see any of that game?
I did not.
What are you doing with yourself at night?
Last night I watched a little Night Court. It was a rerun. I was very upset about it.
Night Court?
I watched the old one, but the new one on TV.
That's great prep for the show.
Yeah,
Night
that's
Court.
right. That's right.
The old one, not the new one?
Well, I was watching some of the old one afterwards, but the new one airs on Tuesday night.
Is Melissa Rauch good in that?
She's okay. She's not the best character in the world. But she's no Harry Anderson.
Well,
how could you be?
He was no Bernadette either. So
that's right. There you go.
Back to really the important thing. So I'm working at night, and my wife is giving me grief about watching too much sports, I go, this is my job. You can't even use that with Night Court.
I can't.
I'm going back and forth. So the Southern Utah, Eastern Kentucky was double overtime. I thought it was going to go triple overtime. You didn't know what was going to happen in that. And by the way, Joe Lenardi, who is brilliant as a bracketologist and has a sarcastic sense of humor, I think grows tiresome as the CBI analyst. I mean, all he does is make fun of it.
Oh, he was on the call.
He's the analyst. Yeah.
Wow.
Philpott is the play-by-play guy who does a good job. Not a big Joe Lenardi fan as an analyst. Definitely as a presenter of bracketology, love him. Don't love him as a CBI analyst.
Interesting.
But the CBI, by the way, so you got a finals now. It's going to be Charlotte. I'm going to be for Charlotte because they're coming into the league, right?
Of course.
Against Eastern Kentucky, which pulled out this thriller last night. And in the Charlotte game, I'm trying to remember who they were playing. But that was like a 3-point game. All these games last night, the NIT games, all close. One went to overtime. The other was the 3-point game in the NIT. Every one of these games last night was close. And then you had the 3-2 down to the last pitch game in the World Baseball Classic. I mean, it's great. Unbelievably great. So.
Radford.
There you go. Household name.
21-15 season. Didn't make the tournament? What's going on?
Didn't make the NIT.
Didn't make the NIT.
Well, thank God there's a CBI. There used to be a CIT, too. I don't think that's in existence anymore.
I don't think it is either.
I mean, 3 is enough. Come on. So, if I ask you this very quickly, how many overtime games have there been in the NCAA? What's your answer?
This year, none, right?
Bingo. None. The CBI, 11 games so far. The 12th will be the championship game. You know how many in the 11 games have gone to overtime?
5.
How did you know that?
Oh, that's what we like to see. I just guessed.
That is unbelievable. You guessed so well.
It's a total guess.
That's why you should go more to Vegas or Tunica or Southland Greyhound Park or wherever the heck.
I waste all my good bets here, I'm afraid.
Man, that's incredible. Yeah, 5 times. 5 out of 11 games gone to overtime. So, you know, it really goes to show you. It's like the old argument that if you took like Rhodes and Millsaps, put them in a big stadium with a big crowd, they'd be even. So you'd like the game, right? So that's what you got with the CBI. You're getting even teams, even though they're not great teams, but they're competitive and they're at the same level, and you get great competition. So that is kind of cool. I'm for Charlotte against East Carolina because they're newcomers into the league. Last night, North Texas, newcomer into the league, goes to a very tough place to play at Oklahoma State. You ever been in IBA Arena?
I have, twice.
I saw my Tigers get run out of that gym and then beat Marcus Smart and Oak State 2 weeks later in Orlando on a neutral. That was unreal because they lost by 30 points, I'll bet, in that game.
Those seats go straight up into the
I know.
area.
It's a cool place. It's a great place for a fan to watch the game, too.
It is.
So North Texas wins in overtime, and then Wisconsin beat Oregon by 3 at Oregon. So most of the time, as I mentioned, like with the WNIT, out of the first 32 games, the 30 home teams won. Last night in the NIT, both home teams lost. Tonight, UAB at Vandy. Used to be I would be for Vandy because it was going to help the Memphis net. But now I got to be for Andy Kennedy and UAB because they're coming into the league, right? Not you.
I think you got
You got friends on the Vandy staff.
Got to be for stacking the boys.
Okay. And then Cincinnati still in it, and they're at Utah Valley. So tell me this. How the heck does Utah Valley get a home game there?
They must have had a really good record in that regard. It must be a high seed or something. It says they're 27-8 in the regular season in a one-bid league, just a high seed, I guess.
You know what? And they probably won the regular season and lost the tournament, so they automatically get in and get a better seed.
How about this stat? Utah Valley 13-1 at home going into this game.
Well, who's the favorite in that game?
There's no spread here, actually.
I didn't even see seeding on the NIT either. I wasn't sure who was the top seeds, who was down on the bottom.
I think Vanderbilt is a 2 seed. Yeah, that can't be right because they've played only home games thus far. I'm not sure.
Well, that would probably be it because they probably have to go by seed, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The old NIT used to be who would sell the most tickets. That's not the case anymore. Anyway, go Cincinnati just for old times. Go UAB because they're coming in. And it was really a lot of fun last night. It's going to be fun this weekend for sure. We got the Sweet 16 coming up tomorrow, and we're going to talk about that with our friend in the house, Brett Norsworthy, in just a second. I'll let you know we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget the preseason and patio pool sale going on, so you can get the latest prices on all the new patio furniture, the best, and, of course, pools. Get in on the list. If you're finally going to make that move and get yourself a pool, get in now. Get the better price and be the first one for the installation because the line gets long when it's springtime. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. There's free layaway. Special financing is available too. Go check it out. It's the preseason patio and pool sale going on at I-40 and Wooden Road at Family Leisure. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Dinstall's. Okay. We are here, right? It is time right now to enjoy all the Dinstalls and be the hit of your watch party wherever you are planning on going. And not only we got games that you want to bring stuff to, it's Easter. And the goodies are blooming everywhere at all 5 Dinstall stores. So this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Dinstall's has what they call a spring fling weekend. There are special discounts on your purchase, and there's samples galore. So you can go in. I have to stop. Now I got to go to Laurelwood. Because you know me, I'm not turning down free candy. Wow, this is a cool deal. Discounts and samples galore when you stop by. So hop on over to Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, Pleasant View, even downtown. Gather your Easter treats at a great price and sample everything. All that's on the house, only at Dinstall's. In the house is Brett Norsworthy. He comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Calling all the Mid-South. Bobby J is waiting for your call today to drive off in your new Kia from Gossett Kia on the Pike. 2023 Kia Soul LX $333 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia K5 LXS $362 a month, $31.99 due at signing. And 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive $381 a month, $34.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease. And if you can't find what you're looking for, let Bobby J order a new ride for you today. Plus, Kia's best-in-class warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com. If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars. All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866 988, MSRP 22,945, K5 PG 200 400, MSRP 26,455, Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. And soon, you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The Showboats are back in Memphis.
We can't wait to have you for the USFL.
Let's go. Ticket prices start at just $10 for their long-awaited homecoming season. April 15th starts a new era of pro football at the Liberty Bowl when the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Bring the whole family And don't miss the Showboat's historic return.
It's a touchdown!
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Come celebrate the savings with Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. It's Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event, so we're ready to rock. 2022 Jeep Renegade $5,000 off. 2022 Dodge Charger $6,000 off. And 2023 Grand Cherokee El Laredo with third row seating $7,000 off. Plus 2022 Fiat 500X $4,000 off. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike says you won't find a better deal anywhere else. And if we don't have it, Gossett will order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Fiat 500X, NP 98268, MSRP 30,950, Renegade NPN 95921, MSRP 32130, Charger number NH261941, MSRP 35630, Cherokee PH 794494, MSRP 46765. Includes all rebates and incentives, excludes tax time and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/23. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Lonely feeling deep inside. Find a corner where I can hide. Silent footsteps crowding me. Sudden darkness, but I can
Welcome in. Cruising through what is a rainy Wednesday. Supposed to be sunshiny at the end of the day, and tomorrow's supposed to be nice. Then Friday, look out. Tough weather in the late afternoon. This hour of our program, presented by Homer. We're proud of that. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Also Genesis. And the way they're working things right now, go see a guy named Vinny Gerard. Vinny's over the luxury portion of Homer Skelton Hyundai, which is Genesis cars. Right now they got a deal on the G70. That's the littler sedan. I call it a rocket. It's a sports car. It's luxurious and fast as can be. And if you agree to finance with Genesis, they'll give you a $1,000 rebate. They're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Brett Norsworthy, as he always does on Wednesdays, joins us now. High hard one right off the bat. Danny Hurley, Eric Musselman.
Somebody gets the ear chewed off.
Which one is crazier?
Push. Take your pick, but somebody gets the ear chewed off. It could be a game that both coaches get tossed. And that's
wait.
That's
what
rare.
was the game? I did see a game where both coaches, I think it was Hurley and Frank Haith. They both got tossed.
It feels like it, and we know if you sit anywhere near the bench area and you're there with a Danny Hurley coach team in UConn, you learn new words. There's adjectives, they're verbs, they're prepositional phrases. I mean, it is quite colorful. His brother's that intense. I can only assume they're legendary.
Oh, their
dad.
father, they learned it from their dad. You know that.
They had to.
I don't think he could be as profane, though, as Danny, because he was coaching a high school team.
And I didn't get that with Bobby as a player. I know he was probably the first Duke hatred guy. What he and Leitner, weren't they probably it? Because people didn't hate Johnny Dawkins, and Jay Billis and Mark Allery, and
well, they shouldn't have hated Bobby because really, according to everything I read, Christian Leitner was really a bum, and everybody does hate him, but he was mean to Bobby Hurley.
Oh, it was horrible to him.
Yeah,
but Bobby Hurley, MOP of the Final Four, and so was Christian Leitner. But now both of them are so agitated, and we know, Dave, and we remember Eric Musselman's dad, Bill Musselman. And he was just like this. I mean, he could have a shirt completely drenched at the first media timeout.
Right.
He came here with South Alabama in the 90s to NCAA tournaments at FedEx Forum and was still very, very intense, very wound tight, and it took him way too soon. He died as a really, I think, a younger man from it. And
how old was he?
Oh, Bill Musselman.
Check that out, J-Mo.
60 or so.
Yeah,
And-
I would say early 60s. Yeah.
And we can remember him at Minnesota.
He was 59.
59.
Wow. So
But
you
that's
think
about
of-
Eric's age now.
He's 58. We
Yeah.
looked this up the other day when I was trying to figure out.
Eric's 58.
Eric's 58 with that body.
Oh, I thought about 55 or so. Wow.
58.
So
he's a year away from his father's demise.
And we know how intense and very tightly wound that he is, and I worry about him over his dad because his dad was a great coach, but in Minnesota, what got him with the brawl with Ohio State, and how that ended, in his successor was the San Diego State's coach's dad, Dutcher.
Oh, really?
That was his successor at Minnesota, so kind of full circle with this Sweet 16. But for the Razorbacks, all their big wins they've had, they've won it all. They played in the final game. They've been to a lot of Final Fours, a lot of had great games with the Tigers. That win was really special to them. The thrill of victory, that emotion when the clock hit zero, they only led for $1.47 all day.
I was just going to say, that's why we love the NCAA. Here is Arkansas, a clear, decided underdog against
Probably
the defending
wasn't the better
national
team.
champions. No, they were not the better team. They don't take the lead until there's a minute 47 to go.
And that's
in the
all
game.
that matters.
Holy smokes.
You move on, they move out. And I do think Kansas was affected
by
the absence of Bill Self. I don't think it was – I'm not making excuses. I was glad Arkansas won, real glad. And it's going to be fun to see them in Vegas and playing an NCAA tournament game in Nevada will be the 28th different state they've played NCAA tournaments in. And they have a very small history with UConn. They played in the consolation game in the late 90s of the NIT. They don't even have that anymore. And they played a couple other times. But what UConn, what they've accomplished, I don't think they're going to win it all. I don't even think they're going to go to the Final Four. But if they do, that if they were to win it all, that would be titles under 3 coaches.
Wow.
And that's significant. But out there, those 2 games both will be wars. Mark Few against Mick Cronin in the second game. I think both teams, and Dave, you called it and you saw it in 06 in Oakland. I think the Tigers had nothing left in the tank after that round of 16 game, and UCLA had very little left.
Well,
and nobody could throw it and kick it in the ocean.
Yeah, that honestly, of all the Elite Eight games that I think I have ever seen, that is the ugliest game ever.
It was.
Rodney Carney, who still to this day holds the record for the most threes by any Tiger.
I think
man
second
or
leading
woman.
scorer all time, isn't he?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely top 5. He didn't want the ball. He was so tired or the moment was so big.
It happens.
But he did not want the basketball at the end there. And UCLA had 2 really good guards. I'm trying to remember who they are right now. And they couldn't do anything. And then finally, somebody had to win that game. But it was
a great,
absolutely ugly.
That was a great UCLA team, but that was kind of Ben Howland at his best. He could get right there but not get across. And Mick Cronin is really close. They've had one winning coach since John Wooden to win it all, and that was Jim Herrick in 95, beating Arkansas in Seattle. In the preseason, I had Houston beating UCLA, and I did it for a couple reasons. I thought they were the 2 best team, and the symmetry of it being in Houston where the modern era of college basketball really started with Eddie Einhorn putting that game on TVS and carrying it nationally.
Alvin Hayes
against Lou Alcindor.
Who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Guy V against John Wooden. Now, they can't meet in the finals.
No, but they can meet in the semis.
But they can meet in the semis. In the preseason, I had UCLA, Houston, Texas, and Tennessee. I have all 4 remaining, and I have all 4 with my bracket. But it's tenuous with UCLA because of Gonzaga, and Mark Few's been right there for so long. What he's done, with his accomplishment, Dave, when they came here in 98 with Fromm and Santangelo and those cats, the Tigers were light years historically.
Was Few the coach then?
No, Dan Monson was.
Dan Monson was, right.
Few was first chair, first assistant.
Right.
But the Tiger program was light years ahead of them. Even when they were playing in that February non-conference game, the Tigers were light year. What they've done and what they've won.
They started getting Canadian guys and foreign Australian guys.
And
transfers. Heck, I think Timmy might have been their first McDonald's All-American.
Mm-hmm.
Or Nemhard was, one of the 2.
They came here with Dan Dickow and company.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Look, let's just say this about Mark Few. I'm not sure, other than John Wooden, who has gone to 8 straight Sweet 16s? Who?
Oh, it'd be tough to find someone. I mean, did Crum ever do that?
I don't think so.
It'd be
8
tough.
straight?
8 straight. That's a lot of winning. And look, that's all they have. They're trying to get into the Big 12 without a football program, which might be the craziest thing in realignment if it occurs.
I know.
It might be the one to just throw your hands up and say, I've had enough, if you're looking at the Tiger perspective. They don't even have a football program, and they're wedging their way in.
I know. Who knows what's going to happen.
But the SEC had a good week last week, no doubt, with the wins and with the teams moving on. But you play to win it all. And with 3 remaining, except for Alabama, do you see either of those other 2 teams really with a chance to win it? Do you think Arkansas can really win it? Do you think Tennessee can really win it?
No. I think Tennessee found the perfect foil in Duke. I do think they're going to beat FAU. I don't think they're going to beat either Kansas State or Michigan State if they get that far.
I don't either.
Unless they let them play football like they did in the Duke game.
But Duke actually had more fouls.
I know that, but if you watch that tape, and I tell you, Tennessee only got whistled for 11 total fouls, you're going to go, you're crazy.
Oh, and only, 15 for Duke or 16?
15, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they let them go crazy.
They did. But they let them play. You have to adjust, and Tennessee, they were able to make some shots. Vescovi was really good, and they might be unlocked with not being so controlled as Rick Barnes is accused of with how he controls his team. Without Ziegler, it may be a little freer.
Here's the key for them in that regard. In that game against Duke, Vescovi was terrific. He took on the role, and he's capable of being a point guard. Mm-hmm. The problem with Vescovi that I've noticed is consistency. If he plays like he did against Duke every game here out, they got a chance.
But he's not.
I don't think he will either. I don't think they'll get past Kansas State or Michigan State, whichever wins that one. I think Alabama can win it. I was wrong about Alabama, too. When I first saw Alabama, and this is pre-murder stuff, they were just trying to outscore you. When they played Memphis in Tuscaloosa, I didn't think they cared a bit about defense. It was like watching Nate Oates' philosophy was like watching D'Antonio's teams in the NBA where they just said, we don't care if you score. We're going to score more.
Paul Westhead with Loyola Marymount.
Right, exactly. But they play better defense.
They do.
Than I thought.
They can guard you a little more than I thought.
Are you freshmen when you're this late in the season? Is Miller, Clowney, are they freshmen anymore? No.
I don't know if they are on opening night. They sure not at this point anymore because they played so much travel basketball.
I think they can win it.
They could, but I still fear that stretch of nothing's falling. And it's almost like the proverbial knot in your shoe, and they keep trying, and it just gets worse. And it could be against a defense-first team like San Diego State.
Maybe. I don't think Creighton or Princeton could beat them.
No, I'm not sweating that.
I don't think Tennessee or Florida Atlantic can beat them. We know they've handled Tennessee. I think on that side, I think Michigan State is truly the dark horse team that can win it.
And Izzo's the only coach that can repeat as a national champion coach. The other 15 in the Sweet 16, all playing for immortality.
Well, the thing about him, it's not this first game against K-State. It's the next game where, what is his record? 22-1 and 23 games between when you've only had 1 day between the games.
And the one time Tennessee's been to the Elite Eight with Bruce Pearl, 1 point loss to Tom Izzo.
I will say this, though. I watched Michigan State up close. I watched them when they beat USC, and that was a really good USC team. Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see them in person against Marquette. But when I watched both Marquette and Michigan State up close, I think I said to you even, but I know I told Dan O'Brien and Nick Dillon, I go, Michigan State's better than Marquette. He underproduced, in my opinion, all year long, but he's got him playing right now, and that's really all that matters. League. What about Houston?
I think they're the team to beat, and I think they have been all year. The one time I saw them here at FedEx Forum in the heartbreaking last-second game winner by Shedd, I came away thinking that's a team that needed that. They needed to be pushed. I didn't mind. For them, I don't think they minded the loss to the Tigers. Okay, fine, reset, recalibrate, on to the tournament. Now, I am a little worried about injury, and I'm also worried about, can Houston win a game in the 80s? If you got in a finals against Alabama and you had to score 82 to win.
I think they can, and I'll give you the one reason why. Offensive rebounds.
More tries.
They are so good on the offensive glass. But I don't know. You're still not going along with they're better than Phi Slamma Jamma.
I am. The 3-year total's better. They've won more games. And I know Kelvin Sampson is better than Guy V.
Maybe. I won't dispute you on that, but they don't have Drexler. They don't have Olajuwon. There's not a player on that team that is that good. In fact, the guy that is perceived to be the best player, Sasser, isn't as good, really, in my opinion, as the point guard, Shed.
But the totality, I think their first 7 is probably better than the Phi Slamma Jamma in the total group. Now, yes, when you have Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and Michael Young,
that's 3. I'm not sure there's anybody on that team as good as those 3 guys.
Larry Mishaw, Alvin Franklin.
Yeah, man, those are good players.
Benny Anders.
You had Geddes off the bench.
You had Reed Geddes. You had a few years after that, you had Cadillac Anderson. You had Ricky Winslow in a few years after the 83, with the next year. Had him in 84. But what Phi Slamma Jamma did in 82, 83, 84, went to the Final Four all 3 years, went to the final game 2 of those 3 years. Lost to Michael Jordan in North Carolina in the national semis when Hakeem was a freshman.
Right.
And then lost to NC State and Jimmy V in the magic moment.
In that crazy game.
And then Pat Ewing and Michael Graham just played bully ball against them in Seattle.
Well, the worst part for me is that great group stopped Memphis from going to possibly 2 Final Fours because they beat them twice.
Arkansas felt the same way. They had to butt heads with them in the Southwest Conference. It really was kind of a 3-team axis, right? Of Houston, really 4. U of L, Houston, Tigers, and the Razorbacks in that stretch.
But how good were those days, huh?
They were great.
How much fun was that? Who do you think wins that Arkansas-UConn game?
I think Arkansas gnaws it out in the end. Wins a 64, 63, 68, 67, something like that. Pretty ugly game. Maybe live at the free throw line. I don't love Arkansas's point guard play. But then Devo Davis gives you what he did against Kansas and was very emotional afterwards. I thought it was great how he handled it, and he may be one of the all-time tournament stars in the history of the Razorback program.
What's going on with Nick Smith? What's that deal?
Had a bagel Saturday. They beat Kansas with him getting 0.
He keeps getting benched,
and he wouldn't play a lot of defense Saturday. And if you got 0 and you're not playing defense, you got to come set by the coach, don't you?
Yeah. Last thing for you, because you are not just SEC, you are a Memphis historian. Memphis season success, failure.
It was successful, but failed ultimately in, I think, what you're most graded on, and that's the NCAA tournament. But it was a success. Progress was made, but 5 years, 1 NCAA tournament is hard to escape, and the heartbreak of that, I thought it was the most crushing loss in Tigers history.
No.
For what it denied them.
No. 2008 is not going to be beaten. But up 9 with 2:12 to go.
But you do get a national runner-up trophy.
I don't care.
And you did have that year.
The ultimate thing is, do you win a national title? You've been there. How many programs can say they've been to the NCAA Final Four 3 times? 2 championship games. You are up 9 with 2:12 to go. They've delivered the T-shirts to your bench, and you didn't get it done. That is the ultimate. And the other one that is way up there, and I think bigger than this one, is the hand check called on Garner on Corey Beck. Because that's a game that gets you to the Final Four.
It was Sweet 16 game.
Oh, it was Sweet 16?
That was a Friday night game.
Okay.
Good, and then Virginia beat Kansas, and Arkansas beat Virginia on Sunday.
And you could have gotten to the Final Four if you get past that for sure. You might have been the favorite to win that. Yeah.
Because after Kansas got beat that Sunday for the Arkansas-UVA game, there literally was not 6,000 people in Kemper.
What makes this one tough, in my mind, is
what it prevented.
Is that you had the clear path to the Sweet 16 in New York City, Madison Square Garden, to play the team that won't play you in the University of Tennessee. And all those your teams star is the one that screwed it up.
Yeah. And I'm afraid that's going to be the lasting memory of him.
No, I don't. I think it is right now. But I think in the end, the thing that we'll really remember, and that will be a part of it. I'm not sugarcoating it. But for me, I think the thing that I'll remember is that they won the American Championship with the big boys still here. It was their only title in that conference with the big boys. And 2, they finally beat a number 1. And that Houston team that you think is better than Phi Slama Jama, they beat them on a neutral. Could have taken them, probably should have taken them twice.
I think that adds to the worst loss. You have all that, and then you can't beat FAU.
Good debate.
You got it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. That is Brett Norsworthy. And I guess as long as we've got one of these 3 teams in, you'll be with us next
This could be it.
Wednesday. This is it. Make no mistake this is it if you're checking out your air conditioning system. Get the $69 tune-up. Do it now. Get there early bird, because you know what? There's a line eventually when it gets a little warmer. It's supposed to be 70 degrees later today. So beat the rush. Get that $69 air conditioning tune-up with Conway. And you know what that can do for you? First off, it prevents any major big breakdown later in the year. Secondly, your system is efficient, so that means you save money on your MLGW bill. And the third thing, and I love telling people this, an efficient system lasts longer. So you're going to keep this thing 15 or 20 years instead of the 5 if you don't take care of it. 384-3511 or go to conwayservices.com. You get the details, the terms, and the conditions. We take a break. When we come back to Baton Rouge, we go. Our friend Ron Higgins is standing by.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold P7866 988, MSRP 22,945. K5 PG 200 400, MSRP 26,455. Sportage PG 107,225, MSRP 29,790. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Hey, Jeff Allen, you ready to give Memphis your best deals at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
That's what I always do, Randy. How about a 2023 Kia Soul LX, only $333 a month and $27.99 due at signing. Looking for luxury? 2023 Kia K5 LXS, $362 a month or $31.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Or how about the 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive?
We got it at $381 per month, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And don't forget Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And Jeff, what if I don't see exactly what I want?
I'll order it for you, Randy, so whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. And soon, you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, Call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choates is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
What we all say. I'm trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. This is my generation, baby.
Welcome back in. Last week, for those first two rounds, my man, my SEC historian in Baton Rouge, Ron Higgins, was on a cruise ship in a sports bar on the cruise ship watching the first two rounds. What's that experience like, Ron Higgins?
It was interesting because you have a large dynamic of different types of fans. And, it was, there weren't a lot of, it was a cruise out of New Orleans, but it was interesting. There were a lot of Midwest fans, a lot of Kansas fans took it kind of hard.
Huh. Yeah, I bet they did.
Took it kind of hard. It's been. I really like this tournament because, again, I just like we said all year. I thought it was going to be wide open, and you had some number ones go down, and so, and you look at these brackets. I mean, you look at the South. Alabama's there, but you get 5, 6, and 15 seeds. I mean, the bracket with Houston in it. I mean. A 5, a 3, and a 2. I mean, you've got a lot of seeds that you expect to be there. You'd expect that, Florida Atlantic would be there, and I'm sorry, bring that for Memphis fans because I agree with y'all. Y'all got hosed, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kansas State, Michigan State. I think it's like Tom Izzo always gets his team there, even though they struggle during the year. They get it together, and they could be a force, man. They got to get past Kansas State, and I like this bracket. I think there's a lot of. I think the committee. I mean, people say they didn't do a great job of seeding because there's upsets, but I kind of like it because I think it's the right teams are in the field. These teams they deserve to be there that have played their way up.
Well, just some quick thoughts. I don't buy that FDU was, poorly seeded. They were a 16 seed. Maybe they were off on Purdue being a 1 seed. I think that is true. Now, you mentioned Michigan State's a 7 seed. That's because they underachieved all year long. That's on Tom Izzo. Because you look at the makeup of that team, they're pretty good. I don't think they were misseeded. They were 19-12 coming into the tournament. So I think they did a pretty good job. So of the 3 left, Alabama's a 1 seed with, in their South region, you got Creighton, Princeton, San Diego State. Man, you would think that the door is wide open. That's the best chance to get there. You think Arkansas's got any chance to make it?
That's a tough region. UConn is pretty good, and then you got Gonzaga and UCLA. Arkansas just doesn't shoot the ball well enough for, I guess. I mean, that's my only concern about them. I mean, they're athletic and they create turnovers and they get teams in their pace, but darn, they don't shoot great. And then they were carried by just a couple of guys. They need some more help to get through this region. I don't know if they make it or not. I mean, they got to start shooting the ball better. They didn't shoot well. I don't think they shot great.
I asked Brett this. I'll ask you this. Who's crazier, Danny Hurley or Eric Musselman?
Probably Hurley. Musselman is. I think everything he does is a cause and effect thing. I mean, having known Eric from the Grizzlies and
right,
coach at LSU, I think I don't think he's crazy. I think it's measured. Now, Hurley might be crazy.
Hurley is crazy. I've watched him do crazy. I mean, nuts stuff on the court, going to middle court and the center circle and slapping it. I mean, just crazy stuff that he does. But he's got a good team. That'll be a heck of a game. Let's chat about Tennessee. Where I mean, the door's open first round. They should play either Michigan or K-State. I don't see how FAU will stay with them, although you never know. If FAU gets hot, they got 7 guys who are gonna shoot threes.
Yeah, I mean, if Tennessee and Michigan State hook up in the regional finals, it'll be like a football game. Those are two. I mean, Michigan State's known forever for its physical play, and that's how Tennessee plays. And that might be to Tennessee's advantage, too, to play in a game with another physical team to where the referee just kind of lets it go. You know, I mean.
Well, they did in that Duke game.
They should have did in the Duke game and just to kind of let them play. That'd be to Tennessee's advantage big time if they get there. I mean, I like Tennessee's chances. I mean, you know, in the region, Midwest region, you know, I like Texas, but again, Xavier's played really well. You know, you could have that'd be a Houston versus Texas regional final would be really in the Midwest would be really interesting. That'd be a really good regional final. You get all sorts of really good matchups here that you could have for these regional finals, and I mean, you could have you could have a Final Four of Alabama versus Tennessee and Texas versus Gonzaga or something like that.
Well, on that right side of the bracket, Midwest and West, I mean, you're talking Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas, Arkansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. There's not a bad one in that whole thing. I mean, on the other side, you got great Cinderella stories, but not quite the same matchups, right?
Right.
So, you know, it seems like Alabama's got the best road to get to the championship game just based on that.
And they really haven't played well. You know that. I mean, they really hadn't played well. I don't know if there's still a hangover from their Brandon Miller stuff, but they really hadn't played as well as they've been playing. I mean, maybe they're due.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. It always truly is. Is there a favorite story you've had so far? Is it Florida, Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue, or what's the thing that's really struck you?
I guess the Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue is just stunning. I mean, that was anytime you get a 1-in-16, that happens, and you get a team that's really in the tournament because in this tournament championship game in the league that they lost to a team that couldn't go because they did not qualify for Division I yet or whatever it is. They weren't even supposed to even be there,
right?
And they go in there and do what they did. You know, that was awesome. But that's what's makes this tournament fun.
That's why we love the NCAA, no doubt.
And I'll say that this could happen in basketball. I don't think it can happen in football. I don't think when you get a 16-team playoff or whatever, I don't think you're going to see.
You're not going to see an 8-1.
No, I just have a hard time believing that. But in this, I think for anything goes in this. Yeah, I just but football, I have a hard time believing it.
All right. He is our historian in Baton Rouge. Have a great week. Enjoy all the games starting tomorrow. We'll talk again next Wednesday. Thank you, buddy.
All Hi, Wolo. Take care.
That is our man, Ron Higgins. He is brought to you by Old Dominick. That is the proud hometown partner of the Tigers. They are your hometown distillery located right in the heart of downtown on Main Street. Old Dominick offers distillery tours, curated tastings. They got craft cocktails in their bar. The bar's open, by the way, for business all the time. You don't have to take the tour to go in there, and you'll love that bar. And, of course, you're going to love the product that is called Old Dominick. You'll learn about the history, by the way, the Canales who brought spirits to Memphis. It's great. It really is. And so is this new product that master distiller Alex Castle finally, she released this product. It's two of them, bottle and bond whiskey and a sipping whiskey. You'll love everything about Old Dominick. Check out the tour, check out the bar, and you can get their products, Old Dominick products, Memphis Old Dominick products, in all of the spirit shops around town. Remember, Old Dominick. That'll do it for us. We're here again tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Everybody's talking about regenerative